All right, well, we're live. The show is on the air. This is the Daytripper photo show for a photo review for the Photo Challenge Raw. Phil's just putting his hat on. Didn't want to feel left out because everyone else is wearing a hat. So now you're a hat boy. Welcome to the show, Phil.
Thank you for having me. Welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. And thank you. And we're just two Canadian, just polite people.
Hey.
Thanking you. All right, so what have you been up to this
wrong
week?
A.
Hey. Yeah, that was the Fonse. That was... Anyway, what have you been up to this week?
Me?
Yes.
Not much. Did actually use my camera over the weekend. It was a lot of fun.
What'd you do?
I took some pictures.
That's what you usually use the camera for?
Usually. It was a lot of fun experimenting with something I hadn't tried before, as well as I downloaded the Creative Cloud, making that jump. And it was a bit of a learning curve because I had to figure out, how I was installing it because it's not, the normal way I install things. And it's a little bit of a different kind of setup, but I really like it so far. I gotta say, it's, jumping from a little bit of an older version to this, it's a little bit of a change, but I do really like everything it so far has offered me.
Well, once you get into it deeper and, all the tricks that Gabriel knows, kind of osmosis-wise, gets into your brain,
Yep.
You're going to enjoy it even more. Speaking of Gabriel, hi.
Hello.
So you've got to leave early tonight because you are just nuts busy. Same reason you couldn't be on the show last week, so thank you for taking the time to be here this week. Seriously.
Well, there was such an outcry, an outrage, an outpouring of support and sadness from me missing last week's show, mainly just from Brian. I still had to at least make an appearance this week.
Well, cool. Thanks. Stay as long as you can, and peace out when you have to. But
right.
Thanks for being here. And so some fun stuff happening in the world of Daytripper. We've got some cool new sessions we've talked about. We've launched the Navi Portrait session, which is going to be held at a new location, which we will announce shortly, coming up soon, hopefully. And it's going to be great, this Navi Portrait session. I mean, she is awesome. She's got a great eye, and anybody who takes her classes appreciates what she throws down. So if you haven't seen it yet, go to daytripperphoto.com and check out the Navi Masterclass session, which we're holding on April 16th. It'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait. All right, so let's get to the show stuff, because we've got a lot to cover today. It's a photo review, obviously, and the challenge was raw. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly deviate the conversation for a quick second, squirrel off to the side. The post-focus feature. I posted this to some friends of ours to ask about the Panasonic post-focus feature and get some opinion. I just want a quick, like a 2-minute thought on this post-focus feature of Panasonic. So basically, I'm just going to explain what it is if you haven't heard about it, and then I'm going to ask these guys what they think, because I think it's important. There's a new feature from Panasonic that shoots a 4K video clip with focus at every single point in the frame. And then you're able to extract a 4K photo by choosing where the focus is after you've shot it. So you take your picture, you do your stuff, you get home, you look at your pictures on your phone or whatever, and your computer, and you can literally pick the point where you want your focus to be. So you shot it originally with the bird flying past you, but it focused on the tree here, and you get home and you realize that you can just take that focus and put it on the bird. So,
Brian, how big is a 4K photo?
It's an 8-megapixel image equivalent.
Right.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
It's pretty good, but still, it's not.
An iPhone shoots 12 megapixels.
True.
12 megapixels on a tiny, tiny sensor.
Exactly.
Well, no, but I'm just saying 8 megapixel. People hear 4K and they think massive, and yes, that is massive for video, but it's still only 8 megapixel for stills.
True, and that's why I want to try it out. The cool thing about this feature is this is a feature that Panasonic invented for their new cameras forward, but it also is firmware upgradable to a lot of their slightly older cameras the past year or two. So if you bought any of these newish cameras like a GX7 or something like that, you can just get this feature, which is so cool. So anyway, I'll be playing with it. I'll take it to wrestling and try it out in the real world and see what it does.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know how it's going to accomplish this and what the difference between focus is going to be, because you can't focus everywhere at once. So if you wanted to have, let's say, the bird flying in front of the tree option, as you change focus, because you're shooting a moving subject, is that going to change the picture? Because it takes different time to focus in different areas. So I'm really curious of how it's going to work. I think it could be a really cool thing, but I also do think that it's going to completely ruin everything and shouldn't happen. No, I'm kidding.
It's the end of the world. It's going to be an implosion on the society. Tom actually says, first of all, hello to everybody who's watching. Nick, Mark, Heather, thank you all for watching. And Tom asks, he says, it would be great if you could pick 2 focus points and blend them, face and background, and focus. Well, technically you kind of can. The way the system works is it saves your original, so you can choose a focus point on one, save that, choose a focus point from the original again of a second photo in the background and save that, and then, I don't know, bring that into Photoshop and do a stack. Who knows? There's ways. Anyway, that's squirreling off into the nether regions, but I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about and mention to the world that this is what's happening.
Yeah, I think anybody that, looks at this and says, it's not real photography and stuff is in the camp with the painters that looked at photographers and said that's not real art. And I cannot, as a person that's pretty much always shot, 99.99% of my time has been shooting digital, I cannot imagine a time where you couldn't change ISO. I mean, that seems insane to me. There's film shooters that are like, oh, you kids these days are so spoiled you can change your ISO. It's like, well, you were just idiots for shooting a time where you couldn't change ISO.
Whoa.
Right words.
Harsh.
No, but
I think it develops creative skill.
How dare you have been born before me?
So it's just, you can give a master a terrible camera, even an iPhone, and they can make good pictures.
Exactly, and that's, I think, the whole point of the show like ours tonight is reviewing photos people have taken, interpretations people have made, looking at composition, and that's going to trump everything. It doesn't matter what camera you use. If your composition isn't telling the right story, your lighting isn't right, your focus isn't where it should be, I mean, these are all things that you have to work on. So it'll be fun to see. I can't wait to try it, and especially in the action environment like wrestling, it'll be a blast.
And I think it's a fantastic thing for a point-and-shoot camera, because those are generally, or at least in my mind, people that have a point-and-shoot are usually, not to stereotype, but usually people that are going to be capturing a certain event or a certain thing at one time, and they're not the kind of people that would, statistically, based on statistics I'm making up in my head, be the type of people that would want to, sit there and compose focus and make sure everything's right, and, actually want to sit there and fret about every part of their picture, and it allows them to quickly get that shot without having to worry about, did it work? Yeah. And I can imagine it would be great for people going on vacations. They want to get awesome shots without having to worry about having to go back to the same place because they screwed something up. Just having it done for them. They're probably willing to trade off.
That's going to be the split, I think, right there. There's going to be the people who buy it to try and use it for their professional world, like a wedding photographer who takes a picture of the bride and groom with the minister behind and the rings or whatever. You can pick and choose where you want your focus afterward, or detail shots where there's a candle and then the name plate in the back and you can focus back and forth. That's all cool, but I think the biggest user of this will be the people who just leave it in intelligent auto mode and just capture their daily activities, and then when they get home, boom, every photo they take will have focus where they need it, theoretically.
And I think, and just because I'm a fan of Panasonic, I'm a fan of Panasonic's point and shoots. I do think that they're some of the best ones that are on the market as far as durability and function. And when they released the intelligent automatic system, the IA system, a while ago, it was massive. It was like revolutionary, and so
everybody copied them. Yeah,
exactly. So I think this is going to be another one of those things that everyone copies them. And I think we discussed it last week briefly that it was the Lytra camera that I think started this, but now it's in something that's useful.
Yeah, my favorite was the Chris Marquardt invisible camera. Okay. That was my all-time favorite infinite focus field camera. Anyway, Andrew,
I like that because it freed up my podcast schedule because there's one less that I listen to.
Yeah, me too. I did listen to that podcast actually.
Well, I don't know what podcast we're talking about.
Bad news
happened.
No. It's Chris Marquardt does tips from the top floor. He's a great guy. Teaches a lot of really cool stuff. I've learned tons of stuff. He was one of the first guys that really taught me a lot of stuff. Then he did this April Fool's joke on everybody with the invisible camera. I shouldn't talk about it. It's old news, and I should have let it go a long time ago. But anyway,
Okay.
I had to bring it up. Why do I do things like this? Anyway, Andrew, this comment was for you, Gabriel. Andrew says, those of us with tenure resemble that remark when you were talking about film people.
I agree.
The first time I heard that, and they're like, yeah, film had a fixed ISO. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you mean like you just kept it at one ISO as a creative challenge. And they're like, no, it had a fixed ISO. I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, to be fair,
me again?
you could change the ISO mid-shoot. You would just have to rewind the film, take it out, put the new roll in, feed it through, take it out, put the other roll back in, bring it back to the shot you were at. It was possible.
In a black bag.
Well, depending. If you were going to rewind it back, it's... No,
Anyway.
Don't worry.
There are times that I'm at a wedding and I like shoot a couple shots indoors and then run outdoors and then shoot indoors and run outdoors, and the thought that you didn't have a variable ISO, like because I never shot film.
Yeah. But this is exactly why
And
photographers weren't as
two
everywhere.
cameras.
Well, photographers weren't as everywhere back then. It was a much more of a challenging endeavor, and I think that's now that it's so easy, and this new technology where you have all this other focus feature stuff going on. I mean, it's just going to dilute even more, but I think the people that'll stand out are the people who really have the eye and know how to use their tool. And it's just like there's carpenters all over the world, but there's only a few that are really good, you know? Like it's a skill you have to learn nonetheless. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to also say hi to Tammy. Tammy said hello a few minutes ago. And now we're going to get to talking. Yes, Gabriel, you do. Okay, just want to remind the world that for photos for this photo challenge, they have to be new photos. So for all those who have taken new photos for the photo challenge, really appreciate it. There was actually only one this week that looks like was an older shot, but we'll get to that shortly. And also, it's your interpretation that matters here, guys. It doesn't matter. We just throw out a word and want to see how you take it. We're not saying...
There's no wrong.
There's no wrong. The raw photo challenge doesn't mean you have to shoot in raw. Doesn't mean it had to be raw food. Doesn't mean anything. It just means you have to think of an idea that relates to the word raw. Create an image with your own interpretation, your own, coolness, and share it with us. And a lot of you did a great job. And we really
the only wrong picture was the one that wasn't submitted.
Why'd you have to go there? I didn't submit the shot, and now you got to make me feel bad.
Yeah, well,
No, I didn't.
Call you out.
Okay. And then always, for photo review shows, it's all our opinions that we're giving you based on our experience and how we've been taught and what we've learned and what we appreciate. So as Gabriel always likes to say, when it comes to our opinion, what is it you always say, Gabriel?
If you agree with us, you're right. If you disagree with us, you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. You're right.
Exactly. All right, cool. And Navi actually is watching, and she talks about your ISO thing. With the right cameras, you could just change the film back.
Yeah.
Yes.
On ISOs. So
those are usually medium formats and ridiculously expensive. So
True. Okay, so before we get into the show, I just want to remind everybody to please join the Daytripper Photo community on Google+. It's open. Well, it's a private community, but we will accept you until you lost our respect massively, and then we probably will ask you to leave. But we haven't done that much.
We don't ask.
We don't do that too often. You have to be rude and not a nice person for that to happen. Also, if you like our show, subscribe to this on YouTube. Go over to our YouTube channel, watch it on YouTube, click like, subscribe, share it with your friends. There's a bunch of new folks who have been watching lately, and I really appreciate that. You guys joining in the Q&A makes this show a community show. So don't forget, there's a part of this Hangout called Q&A. On the window that you're watching, hover your mouse over it. Along the left side, the little option opens up, says Q&A. Click that, write your comments on the right side, and we see what's going on. There's already been quite a few people who said hello to us, so we know it works. And awesome, cool stuff. And one last thing. Thank you so much to the sponsors of our show. There's two major sponsors that we have now, LensPen and Sennheiser, and they've been extremely supportive. They've been really, really helpful. I just got our latest stash of the LensPen product, and I'm stoked about that because y'all know how much I love this stuff. And when I have it available for the Photo Challenge contest, that obviously April 13th is the show that we're going to be giving the prizes away. There'll be a small lens kit giveaway for that. There's going to be more than just the grand prize of a $350 Daytripper photo gift certificate. There's going to be lens pens and other prizes for second and third place as well. So for those of you who have been partaking in the photo challenges, good on you. You've already got some points, and that means that you're well on your way to possibly getting something cool from LensPen. Also, Sennheiser is just new for us. I've got the Sennheiser headphones on. I love them, the HD280s. They sound great for music. I wear them to work. It's funny, you know, when I walk to work with these things, I usually wear a hoodie when I walk to work. It looks like I'm a big, like, not quite cone head, but like this big, huge bubble head walking down the street. What's that, the guy, Dead Mouse? That's what people probably think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, they sound great, and I don't really care what I look like, so I'll wear them. Also, Justin from Sennheiser is going to be on our show next week. And this is our tips and techniques show on sound, and I'm so excited about this because anybody who has any questions about audio and video and combining them and working with them and what products are right and what microphones should be and anything you need as far as lavalier microphones or home microphones, studio microphones, anything like that, Justin's going to be able to help us with all this. So please, if you have any questions, post them to the Daytripper photo community. After this show's done, I'm going to make a post with obviously the point updates and so on, like I've been trying to do. And I'll also put in there a quick thing saying, let me know what you think about, or let us know what you think about questions for audio related to video, because this is going to be a great show. It's not often that we get one of the reps on the show, so when we do, let's take advantage of it. Let's get some good questions and make it a really beneficial show for everyone. Jerry, hello. Hello to you, Mark. Mark's watching. I wonder if Mark's in like Sault Ste. Marie or anything tonight. I think he's home. But that's cool either way. Thank you, sir. And to Christine Small, I'm glad you're watching tonight. We're going to be reviewing your photo shortly. She says, good evening, gentlemen. Currently on couch rest at 37 weeks pregnant. Oh, my God. Looking forward to a great show. Well, Gabriel, you should talk to Trish. Maybe Trish can call Christine, and there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for some newborn photography, my wife is ridiculously talented in that, and always looking for new customers. The problem with newborn photography is you don't have a lot of repeat customers, and if you do, they're like a year apart.
Yeah, so. Well, absence makes the heart grow fungus, so.
What?
All right, so thank you for watching, Christine, and I hope you enjoy our conversation. So let's get into it. What do you guys think? Should we get into it? Phil?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Let's do it.
Can you please do a screen share?
I can. Just bear with me for a second.
That
here.
way, if Gabriel has to bail, we don't lose our screen sharer.
Yes, I'm just getting organized for that.
Cool.
Just working on something at the same time.
Mark's at home tonight, chilling with his wife, cats, and puppy.
Nice.
Okay, so we're going to close this, and we're going to close that, and we're going to go down to here. Okay, and we're going to screen share. My internet's been a lot better recently. Helps if you yell at Rogers. I mean, talk very politely to them because it's clearly not any of their problems. The person on the phone has nothing to do with why nothing's working, so it's okay. So I'm trying to start the screen share.
Shelly used to work for Rogers back in the day, and she had people throw cable boxes at her.
Oh, here.
Like it was her fault.
Yeah. I used to work for Bell Mobility, and same thing, yeah.
People get really uptight about things.
Phil, Tammy says that she loves the stuff on the bookshelf behind you.
Oh, thank you.
Which we can't see anymore.
Yeah, I made the bookshelf go away with the thing. But I'm working on it. I'm working on curating an interesting wall of oddities. And so I had installed shelves, but I installed them too high. I originally planned on this chair sitting higher, but the chair has since kind of broken. This little spring thing in the bottom's kind of gone, so I haven't fixed it yet. But when I do, I'll have stuff on the wall as well, and it'll be interesting. But thank you.
That's cool. All right. So let's start with Jerry.
Absolutely. What I'm doing is I'm just going to the Q&A as well. Here we go. Okay. So there's two pictures for this. We have our first one, and then the second one. Do you know which one we are going to concentrate on?
Well, let's concentrate on the second one.
Absolutely. Okay.
There we go. So, my first thought when I saw this photo was I love that our main street has cool little shops like this.
Yeah.
And I think it would be so cool if there were, like, I don't know, maybe like a photography studio nearby this building. I think that would be so cool. What about you, Gabriel?
I think that would be cool as well.
You think so? But, you never know. It could be cool. This is a neat little, quaint little village, so it would fit very well. Sorry, I sidetracked so much.
I don't know if I would describe Newmarket as a village.
No, you're probably right. It's not.
Main Street is sort of a little village unto itself.
I guess you got a point. It's a place you can sit and have, some food and walk up and down and interesting little stores. And
Yeah.
I like what they've done with it.
I do too. It's beautiful. And this is one of those little classic buildings. I mean, some of these buildings are 140 years old. It's pretty amazing the age of what we have going on Main Street. If we were going to critique this like a photograph, where to me it's kind of like a snapshot. You're taking a picture of the building, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I were trying to create a different image, I'd probably want to maybe straighten it a little bit, shoot from straight on and get a straighter perspective. And also, it's a little bit bright on the where it says Rawlicious, just across that whole line. Obviously, it was a sunny day, so maybe just underexpose a little bit to bring out some more texture in the brickwork. What do you guys think?
I agree with the straight on. I think either straight on or an extreme angle. Just because having the can my mouse move?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, I think having a little bit of blue here is slightly distracting. So straight on might remove it, or getting closer, or an angle might remove it. But I do also agree with a little bit of the brightness on the sign. It kind of taken away. Now, it is good that the sign is a bit brighter because it does help to draw your eye towards it. But it could be getting a little lost.
Okay, what do you think?
I like. I would have probably gone Instagram on it and done a square crop, a 1-to-1 crop.
Okay.
And had just that building in the frame. I love the Rawlicious. Well, I'm not. My mom's a raw fooder, so I know a fair amount about it. And I'm not. They seem to eat what my food eats. So I'm not a huge supporter of it. But they have a fantastic logo. I love that Rawlicious sign and what they did with the O. I probably would have focused on that a little bit more, like in the first photo. But if they'd done a 1-to-1 square crop on that, I think that would have gotten rid of a lot of the distractions.
Cool. Good points. All right. Ultimately, though, it's a perfect take on the theme. I mean, raw, can't go wrong there. So.
And I will say that we did throw out a very, very subjective thing. We didn't really give any guideline whatsoever other than a word. So I really like how people took the idea of it and went with so many different kind of takes on the same idea or the same word.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it was very good to see so many people's own interpretations of what we were looking at.
Agreed. It's even like this one here. Now, this is the unfortunate one that was taken before. It was taken January 7th, 2016, so it wasn't quite taken for this photo challenge. But we'll give it a quick talk, and the reason I want to is just because of the comment he made on his photo, how he said he learned the Bry angle. I had a one-on-one meeting with him, and we went over the Bry angle. It's exposure, composition, focus, and then how to use lenses and all this other stuff. And what I'm really happy with is that he did this with a point-and-shoot camera on purpose. So it's not just a snapshot, I guess you want to say, but he's gotten close to it. He has this further away from the background. He's done things with a point and shoot that you have to do to create shallow depth of field, and he did that on purpose. So for that alone, I just wanted to quickly mention it. I'd probably flip it into maybe a portrait position because of the straightness of the raw ore, which is what this is.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty cool too. It reminds me of Skyrim, but whatever.
Skyrim.
Yeah, raw ore. It looks just like that. Or not. But anyway, since it's an older shot, maybe you guys, if you want to say something, just quickly go for it.
Well, the only thing that I really have against it would be the finger in the bottom corner. But other than that, I do like that he had to get closer to get that, as you're saying, that smaller depth of field. Because usually a point and shoot, just through how a point and shoot works, pretty much everything's almost always in focus.
Sure, right. Yeah.
And so it takes a bit to actually force things not to be in focus. So I really like the outside the box thinking on it.
That's right. That's my point. What do you think, Gabe?
I agree. I think I would like it if the rocks were a little bit over to the right. They're a little bit too center for me, but Yeah, God, another comment on this, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah. Briangle, is that hyphenated or not hyphenated?
No, it's not hyphenated.
Okay, all right.
Why?
No, it's just because he said, thanks for teaching me the Briangle, and I'm like, I think that would be hyphenated, but
Oh, no, it's
you know,
BR capital Y angle.
Wrangle.
there you
Yes,
go.
it's different. It's a me word. It's an inventive word. It's kind of funny. That was taken from Ross Chevalier. I guess he thinks that I have a different way of explaining the essentials, and I've kind of broken it down into a package that's fairly digestible. Nick Laff, who's watching, he says the Briangle is amazing because he took my McMichael Art Gallery class. So it's that
Awesome.
whole way of delivering how this stuff works that I think some people connect well with. Maybe not everybody, but apparently it's worked for a couple people, and it's pretty sweet, and that just made me happy. So very
There
cool.
you go.
And Jerry says good points on the comments that we made on his photo, by the way. And hello to Sheila, who's watching, but a little bit late. That's totally okay. Thank you for watching. All right, Phil, let's move on to the next shot.
Which is, I think, this one.
Sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll go back and forth. I'll squirrel my way through.
No worries. So this is Tammy's raw coffee beans. Gabriel, why don't you start with this one?
I love the raw coffee beans. I love the Starbucks. I love the I will, if you want to lure me into a room where something is bad is going to happen to me, I'll follow coffee beans into there because I think it's going to lead to a cappuccino. It's like I love the picture. Good white balance, good use of light. I don't know what the bear's for. And it's like I'm looking at the picture, I'm like, it works for me, it works for me, it works for me, it works for me. It doesn't work for me. So, maybe it's one of those pictures that once it gets explained, then it works for me. But without it being explained, the bear doesn't work for me, but everything else I love.
Cool. Phil, what do you think?
I like it. I will say that and I know it's a white background and it's kind of supposed to do it, but the coffee cup does kind of blend a little bit into the background. But it's not at any point where it's super, super distracting because the coffee cup or the lid's not really the point of the picture. But I, don't want to split hairs or anything, but technically they're not raw coffee beans. Technically.
Well, you are Mr. I eat the coffee beans that came out of a monkey's butt, so...
No, I like that the coffee beans lead you into the shot. It gives your eye something to kind of follow. And so it's actually agreeing with... my eyes aren't very good. Hold on. Stephen Coyle, I believe.
Oh, Steven, yeah.
Going over, following the eye into the picture. But again, I do agree. I don't really understand the bear unless, she's unbearable without her coffee. But I don't know.
Nice find. Good find.
I'll give it a point for puns.
I'll get you a lead pen. Okay, so I agree with both of you guys. You brought up some points I didn't even think about. I like the take on the theme. Myself, I'd want to make it harder to get to the coffee. So I would take it and stretch it out to the very top corner, diagonal completely across the frame, and have those beans trailing for a little bit longer. Make it a little more tension there by trying to have to get to it. Again, I thought their bear was cute, but it didn't really add to the photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of gives it a different feel. Without the bear, it's a coffee. With the bear, it's coffee at the zoo or something. So I don't know.
Rawr coffee, anyway.
But it's open into interpretation, so it's not wrong. It's just the way we're looking at it, And also, my thought about the background, I think it could stand to maybe use like a half a stop or a stop more light.
Yeah, I wouldn't even mind to see the coffee cup blend in the background even a little bit more.
Okay.
It's funny, on my main computer, on my Mac screen, I can see all the texture and I can see the background. On my crappy second monitor I have, which I never really review photos on, it looks exactly like I want it to look. It's all blown out a little bit. The coffee beans are isolated. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's a fun shot, and thank you so much, Tammy, for taking it. We've got some comments here. Rich F says, coffee. Yeah, and you've already read Stevens with the leading line of the beans, absolutely. And diagonals are very powerful in photos, which is why I wanted to kind of stretch that diagonal out a little bit more. And Tom says if there was no cover to a black coffee, maybe more interesting. Oh, so have black coffee in the cup.
Oh.
take the cover off. That would actually give more contrast. That's a good point.
And to comment on the bear, because Tammy has posted, I do like it just because you like the little bear, you put it in. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that. She says bear because I like the little bear. Why else would there be a bear?
It's making it your own, and that's the important part about shooting is you got to make it your own.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
Oh, she says you guys are so not girls. Wake up, teddy bears and coffee. Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know teddy bears and coffee was the thing.
It's a thing.
I know Bailey's and coffee.
We'll get Navi. We'll get Navi to give her opinion on that. Make sure the girl
teddy
in the
bears
company.
and coffee. All right. Try that with Trish tomorrow. I don't know. It's like, here's your coffee and a teddy bear.
Well, you know, coffees are warm and fuzzy, and bears are warm and fuzzy.
We can't try and understand it, guys. We're guys. I get it. I respect the difference, okay?
We're at a wedding. For a girl, it's all about the shoes. For a guy, it's all about the watch.
For a guy, it's all about getting through it so he can say goodbye to... Never mind.
All right. I scratched it. I don't know how to fix a scratched glass of a watch, but that's...
Oh, get that stuff that you could buy for cars. You know, it goes on the
and, like,
scratches and buff it out. Yeah.
Yeah, if it'll work.
No,
I can
that
see
doesn't
a
work.
huge buffer go.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, if anybody watching the show right now has a cure for a scratched piece of glass, then let us know. Meanwhile, this is Emil's photo. Now, Emil is another one who did the McMichael Art Gallery class with me. So we're talking, the age group was 12 to 15-year-old kids in this class. And
that's great.
For them to be so active in our community right now, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it and how exciting it is for me. And I just hope that you guys keep on posting with all comments and not keep it up because it's awesome.
Yes.
Phil, why don't you start on this shot?
I like this picture. I like this picture for actually a couple reasons. I like the leading your eye through the picture. The top of the tree is not the thing that's in focus. It's the actual rough bark in the shot. I kind of like it partly because when I first started with digital, this is not like the kind of the same style of stuff I'd be working with and experimenting, and so it's kind of fun to see other people experimenting and something like this, getting close to the tree, shooting along the tree as opposed to taking a picture from a distance. It implies the creative aspect towards thinking about what you're shooting before you shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fantastic.
Agreed. Gabe, what do you think?
I'm just impressed. And you know what? Maybe it's because I'm out of touch, but somebody that age shooting in RAW. Because the most popular camera, not just phone, but the most popular camera on Flickr and online is the iPhone, and the iPhone doesn't shoot RAW. So to see, sort of the next generation coming up, grabbing the bigger equipment, shooting in RAW, and there's a real tax to shooting RAW. There's it's not as compatible with everything. You have to have something that shoots it. You have to have software that reads it and stuff, and that's great. He was proud it was shot in RAW and processed from RAW, and then the picture itself is also a good picture. I took one very similar to that last weekend, except on a birch tree while going for a nature walk with my family.
Cool. It's a really interesting perspective. It's not something that you'd normally see unless you captured it this way.
Yeah.
Well, awesome stuff, Emil. I thought you did a great job here. It's a really interesting photo. The perspective, to me, it makes the tree look huge. Like, I don't know if the tree is really that big. It probably is a lot smaller than I can think of it as. So the perspective makes your mind work with it differently. And way at the top, it's almost like you could think that there's a huge tree house up there. Like it's out in the jungle somewhere, and Tarzan's up in the tree or something, and he's getting ready to swing. But you never know. It's a really cool thing because it's off in the distance. It's out of focus. But the color green is still there, which is really nice to see. You've got the brown leading up to the greens. I thought that was a really neat touch. Not like you put the tree leaves there because you just captured it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't add the leaves. That's not the point. But I just think that the bark is just a bit too dark. Little too underexposed of a feel to me. And again, that's just my personal feeling. And, personal preference trumps all here. Or, should I say it trumps all. Get it? Trump.
Make Donald Trump again.
Make Trump again. I'm still upset about the whole Donald Trump thing. Anyway, that's a different conversation for another day.
It could get more upsetting, but
Yeah.
Nick's banter show on politics.
Yeah, well, that could be
For
fun.
everyone. Totally kidding.
Totally kidding. It's not our bag.
We'll have a separate show for politics. We
Yes.
won't post it because no one will watch it, so it's okay.
We don't want to watch it. We'll watch it anyway. But I do really want to stress that on this photo specifically, that people's interpretation of the theme is up to them. And we give a word, however it's interpreted is up to the person who shot it. And yeah, that would be my thought.
And I would like to point out that if because I shoot in RAW. I think a lot of us do. And sure, once a picture's processed and I go to, let's say send it to someone so they can view it or they can make it the wallpaper on their computer or whatever the heck people do with pictures, yeah, I might turn it to a JPEG. But it's the fact that it starts as a RAW file, I think, might be the important part.
Mm-hmm. Tom suggested, wouldn't this be better in portrait? I don't think so.
It could. It would just be a different feeling, I think.
Yeah, but you know what? You've got everything you need in the shot. It's not straining to look up at something, and it's on a bit of a diagonal.
Portrait too, though.
Yeah, interesting.
Just holding my hands in front of the screen.
Again, I think that's an interpretive thing. I like it the way it is, but I totally get why somebody would want to make it. If it falls in all the rules of why it would be in a portrait mode. I like it out of it though.
And at the end of the day, it's what makes you like your shot, which is important. And anyone can look at pictures. I can look at the pictures I shot on the weekend and say, well, I like it, but I could have done better here, here, and here, and here. But it's important for you to actually like what you like, and for whoever looks at your picture to kind of like it as well, so that you can invoke a feeling to it. And it actually causes maybe a discussion, and as this definitely did, as I think most of the pictures we have on here, if not all the pictures we have on here, actually end up doing.
I agree. And Nick actually says it looks better in landscape because you can still see some of the sky instead of just a tree. That's an interesting point. Gabe, what do you think of that?
Yeah, it shows more of the story around the tree.
So it's like a tree environmental portrait.
Mm-hmm. Literally environmental portrait.
Very cool. My only last comment I'd like to make is that if you wanted to, and you got very good with Lightroom or editing or any of those things, if you could lighten the bark of the tree all the way up to where the leaves are, your eye would hit that bright spot and just follow right up, right to the very top of the tree. It's like a selective lightning.
The other thing, too, would be also experimenting maybe a little bit more with exposure comp.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the lightness of the sky might be attributing to the darkness of the tree. And so...
Well, it also has exposure compensation in the photo details at -4.
Okay.
So either he shot manual, and it just thought it was too dark because there's a little dark and there's a lot of bright.
Yeah.
So it just registered as -4, or he had shot in a different mode, which he dialed in -4 to get it darker.
Which means there's a reason behind it dark, which is even better.
Exactly. It's a purposeful photo. He intended to make the shot the way he did. Cool. All right, let's move along. Oh, and by the way, Navi has given her female opinion, and she says that teddy bears aren't for her. It's more diamonds. So.
Coffee and diamonds.
Coffee and diamonds.
Well, you know what they say. Diamonds are girls' best friend.
Apparently, Tammy's is a little teddy bear.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say about dogs, too. They say dog's a man's best friend, outside a book. Hold on. Oh, I messed it up.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I'll come back to it in a minute, and then we'll pretend that it's my original thought. Totally isn't.
Okay, so this is Mark Moore's photo. And by the way, happy 1-year anniversary in the world of photography to Mark Moore.
Yay!
I saw him at Camera Club last night, and he told him it's his 1-year anniversary taking pictures with his camera.
Nice.
Or having a camera at all. So
for the fact it's his 1-year anniversary having pictures, he has posted some really, really good stuff over the last couple months, at least, that I've been here.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's literally a very new thing for Mark, and he's really working hard, and he's doing very interesting, creative things. So congratulations. Oh, and on a side note, not to steal Mark's thunder or anything, but it's actually Daytripper Photo's 8th anniversary right now. So that's kind of cool, too. The
awesome.
22nd was our 8th anniversary. So happy anniversary to us as well.
Nice.
Yay. Yeah.
Just a little bit older than my son.
Yep. Tammy laughed out loud, which is good. I'm glad, because I didn't want to piss her off. And Emil says, thanks for the tips. We'll try the lightning of the tree to lead the viewer's eye up to the tree. Awesome.
Nice.
And yeah, it has been a blast for you, Mark. You've done some great work, and let's talk about this piece of work. So,
Yeah, we'll do a crack at it.
Ha!
Okay, I think I've hit my pun quota for today. I'll stop.
Oh, you're funny. Okay, so I'm going to start off on this guy, and I think anytime you have a photo with eggs and string, you're going to have a fun time. I think that's pretty awesome. My thought, though, on this, and now, Mark, I'm critical of you because you do good work and you have a good eye, and it's just like some of the kids like Nick and Emil who took my class. I can be critical of some of their photos because I know they're open to suggestion and they're not taking it in a negative way. So I'll do the same with this shot here. I love the concept. I think it's great that you're following the and you said it in your notes. I forget the name of it, but the
Newton's Cradle.
Yes, thank you. The Newton's Cradle. I love the concept of it, but to me the eggs are just a bit too bright, like overexposed bright. And because the handle's missing on the spatula, it really gives a disconnection. The red is such a bold color, and I think that was the right choice. But my thought would be to grab a flashlight or something and just light the handle of the spatula, just to give some sort of consistency to that. Other than that, great concept. Raw egg sitting in the pan with the Newton's Cradle above it. It's so cool. Very creative, and I'm very happy you made it. What do you think, Gabe?
Yeah, I'm wondering how he attached the ropes to the eggs. It looks like glue.
Yeah, maybe a hot glue gun.
Hot glue or something like that. Yeah, it's a good concept. I think it's well pulled off. Probably could have used a little bit more lighting to light the spatula and everything like that. It definitely suits raw. It's like it's like when you tell somebody to draw you a picture of a carrot, and they draw you a picture of like a carrot orchard, so instead of taking a picture of a raw egg, you did like this elaborate setup, which is cool. That's great. I mean, why settle for the bare minimum, right? When we can go above and beyond and challenge yourself, and that's great.
Yeah, he says he did use a hot glue gun for that.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's cool.
A lot of things hot glue can do.
I never even thought you could do something like that.
Ask not what hot glue can do for you, but what you can do for hot. Yeah.
No. The only thing hot glue can make me do is go.
As in, you glue it to your finger because you thought it was cold yet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, don't you remember the device that Mark made for the Fire on Ice spin-off, Gabriel?
Yeah.
He had that spinning big bar with the spinning things on the ends and battery packs. Yeah, Mark's an engineer. He can do this stuff. He's got the skills to use a hot glue gun and not burn himself like we do.
All the time.
Yeah. So very cool stuff. Phil, anything you'd like to add?
I like the picture. I do agree. Thinking about it now, I do agree that I think maybe a bit more light on the spatula would work. Either that, or you could always visit Spatula City and get a lighter spatula. But
Spatula City.
Yay! Sorry. There's always someone who forget the reference. Just too many spatulas.
I get it.
Fun note, I think it was the first Christmas I spent with my now wife. I think I got her a spatula, and I made like a little Spatula City tag because we had recently watched that movie. Yeah. I got her other things too, not just a spatula. It's okay.
I was gonna say, at least you're still together, so
But great movie. Anyway, so I like the idea of it. I do agree that it might be slightly dark, but I understand that you might have wanted to isolate it from the top of whatever it was you were shooting it on. So I think it does kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, as far as settings choices go, I'm shot at 1/250th of a second f9, which tells me that with flash you're trying to isolate the background by going for a small aperture and a fast shutter speed, which was perfect. Probably fired from the creative lighting system. The Nikon D7100 has the ability to fire off-camera flash, which is also awesome. So technically, love it. Just tweaks because we hold you to a higher standard or something. Anywho, moving along. Let's check out the next shot.
Yep, I'm getting there.
I can see the little lights under his eyes getting a little shinier.
Yeah, I've got about 4 more minutes.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear what you think about Nick's photo. Oh,
Should we jump to that one first, if you'd like?
Christine? Yeah, before Gabe leaves, let's just... Sorry, Christine, we will get to yours, and hopefully Gabe will still be here for it.
There it is.
Where are we going?
Oh, no, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah, you did.
I swear I know how this works.
There we go. So Nick's shot.
That one there. Okay. Again, it's definitely raw. You know, all the raw veggies. It's almost like there's a theme this week. It's like a very clear concept of raw with a random stuffed animal put in. It's like, I get the what's with the, okay. So,
Yeah.
Definitely raw. Raw onion makes you cry. Raw carrots. I eat like a pound a day of the little baby raw carrots because it keeps me from eating potato chips and donuts.
Donuts.
Oh, I know.
Mm.
Apparently, when you grab a donut every time you grab a coffee, you gain weight.
Oh, no.
It's a myth. It's only because you're sitting in a car. If you're standing, you don't gain the weight.
I blame Trump.
His little fingers.
Well, the nice thing is with the many carrots and he's holding them, it looks like a full-size carrot.
Yes. But Nick actually has full-size carrots in this specific photo.
Yes, that's true. It's the perfect concept of raw. It's raw light. It's raw food. It's everything about this picture just says raw. Except for the 101 Dalmatian in the background or something.
Okay, no, well, Nick
I like
actually...
it. It's like a take on last week. I like it.
Yes, exactly. He was listening to last week's show. This is a raw dog food.
Raw...
Okay. I like it. See, I like the story behind it.
So he has a little dog in the photo with a bowl of food, which also explains why it's a silver bowl for dog food.
I did not. I didn't get that. Okay.
I didn't either.
That's creative.
Probably because the dog isn't real.
You know what? That's probably it.
but
But it's interesting. It's a neat twist.
yeah. Now, okay. Now, can raw dog food be all vegetarian?
Yeah, there's actually a surprising amount of vegetables in some of the foods you buy. Like my dogs eat, or at least used to, because they get super picky, food that had like meat and stuff in it, but it had a large amount of like carrots and that kind of stuff in it, because I think it's good for them, because it gives them the vitamins and nutrients they need, and it gives them something to pick out and leave on the floor.
Oh, there you go.
Just like children.
Which is always good. Okay, but technically, again, if we're going to hold these guys to a higher standard, because, Nick does know the triangle, I'm going to shut up about that. Compositionally, I find it's just too off to the left. The dog is looking to the left, and the bowl's cut off to the left. I would like to have seen it more on the right side of the shot, where maybe a different angle showing the dog actually paying attention to the bowl, rather than in the background slightly out of focus, and as Gabriel said, not a real dog. So, I think composition would have helped us understand that this was a dog bowl with a dog looking for food.
Or maybe if the dog was closer to the bowl, like with its chin sort of over, then I would have gotten the idea that the dog was looking to eat it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Emil says it's very creative. I agree.
Mm.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I think it's very creative with room to be refined.
Agreed.
Which is, partly, to be expected, as I don't know how long, he's been getting into the whole idea of, shooting and everything, but it's good to see the creative thought now, because the creative thought is something that's very hard to add in later. You can be an awesome technical shooter, but take terrible pictures.
Awesome point. Awesome point.
Very good
It's
point.
a creative idea that as you add the tools of understanding of this does this does that, that's why this happens, it makes you be able to take that creative idea that's in your head and make it come out the way you want it to. So it's fantastic to see the steps happening, and I look forward to seeing what is accomplished in the future.
Good point.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I know some photographers that can answer any technical question. They know everything about photography and aren't very good photographers. Whereas I know, world famous photographers that when they show a picture at a conference and they say, "What are your settings for that?" They're like, "I have no idea. I don't know what my settings are. I just know what to set the camera to, and then I take the picture."
Mm-hmm. Nick says that he was trying to make it seem like raw dog food with the dog blurred out in the back to be intended. The photo had to be interpreted, which, again, now that we understand it, it makes sense. But the problem with a photo is you have to tell the entire story in one frame. Whereas with video, you can spoon feed the story to people and make it very easy to understand. So the composition should help a viewer understand the story. And I think that's just the tips that I could give is maybe just change compositionally a little bit, and it would be a lot different. Very cool stuff, though, and I'm glad you're keeping an open mind and you say it's understandable. So that's great. Thanks, Nick. You were awesome, dude. Gained some knowledge. Sorry, had to go there.
It's okay.
All right.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to head out, guys.
Okay,
for
nice
heading out
having you.
early, but I've still got this computer over here I have to finish for tomorrow morning, and that computer over there I have to finish for tomorrow morning. So
Sounds good.
and editing to do and all sorts of fun stuff. So
Okay. Well, thanks for showing up,
having me on.
and thanks for taking the time to be here. And have a good night.
My pleasure. All right, you guys too.
Peace, brother.
Bye.
All right, Phil. You and me, kid.
That brings it to Christine Small's picture.
Awesome. Okay, so this shot, I'll start with this because this is kind of close to me, being in that audio-video world for so long before I was into photography. How many times did I have to deal with this? And she didn't name this photo, so I called it raw nerve in my show notes. It touches on my raw nerve just because what a mess. What a mess. Nick and Emil both got it. Knowledge. Awesome. You guys are great. And Tom, enjoy the comments. Good. I'm glad. That's good to hear. Thank you. Okay, so Christine, yeah, this is totally touching on my nerve. I love where your focus is. I love the fact that the film itself is kind of out of focus, so it kind of all blends into itself. You don't really know where it starts or stops, which adds to the frustration, and really kind of like, oh, it's just making me. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me seeing a videotape like this. The reverse vignette around the edge, the nice blurred bokeh, I thought it was really great. What do you think, Phil?
I agree with all that. And yeah, the fact that when it gets to this point, you're pretty much just done. Might as well just get rid of the tape and, hope for the best.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, I like it. It's just, and I guess a couple ways you can kind of look at it and interpret it into the whole, like the raw side of things. But, if you pull out all the insides out of a tape, you are technically looking at the raw data of that tape, the magnetic information stored on the tape that at this point, maybe you'll get back. But hey,
yeah,
it's analog. You're probably going to have about the same quality once you put it back in anyway.
I think that's mini DV. I think that's a digital video cassette.
It's still magnetic heads, and
it's still not like today's high-tech stuff.
No.
Which is probably why it's in this condition.
Probably.
But to get back to the technical points, I do like how there's that little bit just above where your mouse is, that little bit of tape that's kind of bleeding off to the edge. Yeah. It really gives the shot depth.
Yeah, and same kind of over here.
Yes, exactly. I love the shot. I think Christine did a fantastic job here.
And I like the fact that it's not fully black and white. It's got just a hint of something, kind of purple.
Yeah, the tone of it. The tone of it's really nice. And Steven says, even the subtle and sharp contrast screams, "Arg!" Yeah. Totally agree. All right. So anything else you'd like to add? We don't have Gabriel to give his 2 cents on it now, so it's going to be a little quicker.
I think that's about it.
All right, cool. Thank you, Christine. Well done. Nice photo.
And then go this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Jackson. Now, I was confused on this a little bit, to be honest. I had to stare at it to try and figure out what it is. So I saw this as a solar light kind of in the middle, maybe at a barn with like tack around.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't really know what it is. I like the fact that it's, the single point of light, the only light source for it. It's, a little bit of something around it. It looks maybe like some type of plant, maybe a box of some sort. Really not sure. I like it. I think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And now, believe it or not, it really reminds me of a Dave Black light painting photo when he did like the boots and the little bullets and all that, and like a fishing fly and a fishing rod. But he used the flashlight to light everything individually, and you could see it all. You know what I mean? So a photo like this, if there's something to the story that we're missing, it's probably because we can't see it.
Which I think kind of works.
Okay, so you really,
like it? I personally like the contrast between the light and the dark, because it's the amount that you can see, but it's the fact that it is outweighed by the amount you can't see, and you can't get the full story. You don't know what the rest of it is. So it's the imagination that you'd have to use to figure the rest of that out, which I like.
I get that. I like the moodiness of it. It's not connecting with me because I think, like Nick says, it maybe should have been a bit brighter.
Yeah.
But I think also you'd have a problem making it brighter overall because the light is already bright.
Mm-hmm.
So if you overall expose the whole thing brighter, then the light will get too bright and it'll be overexposed. And so that's why I thought maybe a flashlight to help out a little bit. But that's, again, interpretation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like Christine says, she's wondering if the darkness is intentional. You're welcome, Christine. I'm glad you liked our thoughts. But what do you think? Do you think the darkness was intentional?
I think it could have been. At least if it wasn't, it gives the illusion that it might have been.
True. Well, it's an interesting photo, and thank you. Oh, look, there's our review notes.
Yeah, I made them go away.
That's okay. So
I thought I was going to open a different window.
Oh, it's no worries. We've got 2 photos left to talk about. And if Jackson is watching the show, I would love to hear your thoughts on if it was intentional that way. I mean, it's just like with Nick's photo. When we found out his intent for the photo, it gave us a different feel for it. And we could look into it a little differently. But without that, 'tis what it is. All right. Where do you want to start? Mark's or
Mark's.
Tom's? Right.
We'll go left to right.
Left to right it is. Okay.
So this is gross.
This is totally gross. But that's what I like about it. You know me. I mean, every photo that makes me feel like I just got punched in the head is a happy photo for me. I love the fact that you see all the little veins on the egg yolk in the glass. It's just like, oh, God, don't drink it, please. But Rocky did it, so Mark could do it too. You know, like, who knows? Who knows? I love the lighting. I love the fact that the light is very concentrated on the eggs, and it's very clean, not overdone in any way. And, yeah, pretty gross. What do you think, Phil?
I do agree. I like the lighting. I think the focus on the egg kind of works. It is a little off, but then again, you are focusing through a liquid that's not really transparent, so that kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an interesting shot.
Tough to talk too much about it, though, isn't it?
A little bit.
I love his interpretation. I mean, raw, right? The challenge is raw. So what does Mark want to do? He wants to eat raw eggs. I just hope you didn't eat them. I hope that you put them in a pan, cooked them, put some salt on them. You know.
Yeah, made a nice omelet or something.
Made a nice omelet. Yeah, that would be a little bit better. But as Julie said, it looks delightful. And Tom said in the chat here, he says, this is the breakfast of champions. And Mark is a champion. So we'll see how that goes for him. Anything else to add?
I think that's about it.
All right, cool. Let's move along to Tom's, the last photo of the show here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a raw piece of steak.
Yep.
With a...
Which I didn't realize the border until now. I'm sure I missed that the first time I looked at this.
Yeah, I just noticed the border just now. Mark says he'll never tell if he ate it or not. So, yummy. Love it.
It wasn't even cooked it. Technically, he would have eaten it.
Now I want eggs.
Like, this picture, if we look at the pure raw aspect of it, we basically have harsh lighting, contrast on the one side where the light was coming across, very, very direct, very kind of to the point picture.
Mm.
And of course, it's a giant raw piece of meat.
it's a raw. I mean, obviously, it's just like you said, Phil. When you want to talk about it with technique involved, with the harsh shadow along the left edge, There's a different way to light things so that it's not reflecting so harshly, but it's a beautiful piece of meat.
Yeah, but that could also be the point of the shot, is to have it be super harsh.
But he did add a vignette, and a nice border, and he loves this meat, right, Tom? This is great meat. As Emil says, that is a good piece of meat. I agree. Nick says, not sure why, but it feels like it looks a bit too cartoonish, if that makes sense.
I think because it kind of feels like it's massive. I don't know why. I get the feeling like it's a huge piece of meat. Like I'm looking at like an oversized steak. Like I should be in Texas or something. So I think that could be having that effect, that it's just big. And I think it would be even more cartoony if it was like a T-bone, because then you have that full out, cartoon style. And there we go. So it going back to the lighting. So it was that harsh, the raw style of lighting.
Raw light.
There we go. And which is, I think it's good that you threw the vignette and the border on it to show that it was edited, to emphasize the rawness and the harshness was intentional.
Good point. Absolutely good point. I'm also looking at his settings. F14 was the aperture and 1/15 of a second shutter. So I would assume a tripod was used, because it's actually really sharp for 1/15 of a second. What do you think of the idea of potentially opening up the aperture to get shallower depth of field?
I think if you were trying to be creative, that'd be an important thing to do. But because it was shot at 300 mil, and I think because you probably wanted that shadow to be so sharp, I think going a little bit more on the the more closed down aperture, going to the F14s, F11, something like that.
That helped the effect.
I think would help with making sure everything was sharp and making sure the harshness of the light was there.
Good point, because he is zoomed in all the way with the lens, so that will create very shallow depth of field as well. Yeah, so that had to pull it back, because the plate technically is quite soft.
Which is really weird considering it's right on the plate, but that could be also After Effects, Photoshop softening a little bit.
Well, possibly. But it is a beautiful piece of meat, Tom, and when are we coming over for barbecue?
That's what I'd say it's almost getting the season, but the weather we have going outside right now, who knows?
It is the season. It's always the season for barbecue.
Yeah, we're Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. I go in the middle of winter. It's all good. All right, so that's pretty much it for the photo challenge, unless you had anything else you'd like to add.
No, I think that's it.
Awesome.
I think that's all the pictures. Just going to jump back and reload it here.
I'm pretty sure it is.
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we still have to give out our prizes for the top 3 photos. And we're going to do that in just a minute. But it was a great bunch of photos. Thank you all so much for submitting for our photo challenge. We do have another theme that we picked, which is going to be another one of those one-word, see what you do with it kind of photo themes, which I hope everybody gets connected with. Because when it was mentioned to us, I was like, yeah, that can go in all different directions. Tom just says here, unlike the eggs, it was cooked 4 minutes per side. Oh, good job.
There you go.
Good job.
If it's a nice thick steak, means it was most likely rare, maybe medium rare.
Nice
which
medium
is perfect.
Rare. Very nice. Good. All right. So, do we still agree with the top 3 picks?
Sort of. And I think the issue now is we don't have Gabriel, so we're possibly at dead heat.
So, do you want to do with what you suggested?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think at the end of the day, they all kind of come out the same way.
Well, okay. So what that means is, hang on one second. Let's just do the important things that are relevant to our show right here. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Oh, too far. There we go. Okay, so we have to pick the top 3 photos. And I'm going to say the first photo, start with third place. Let's start with honorable mention. Honorable mention. I'm going to say there are 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Do you see the notes?
Yes, I agree.
All right, cool. So for honorable mention number 1, I'm going to give 1 point for the photo challenge to our good friend, Emil Constantine, with your photo. I thought you did a great job. I like the techniques that you use for the shot. We had our tips, of course, but that's fine. So good job for you. And that's a point for Emil. Yay! It's fun. Okay, and second honorable mention this week will be for Jackson Eastwood. Good job, buddy. Good job. I didn't do a drum roll, but you get the applause.
Thing open.
What's that?
I just got the thing open. I had the wrong effects box open.
Effects are fun. They make
Effects
our day
are
happy.
fun.
Okay, and for third place with 2 points, Christine Small. Well done with your tape. That just totally hit a raw nerve for me. And I loved it a lot. It was a beautiful photo. Second place, getting 4 points this week, is our good friend.
There we go.
Mark Flinders coming in at second place with your photo of the eggs, and it was very close between you and who we picked for first place, because it came. I think it came down to technique, lighting. What do you think, Phil?
I think so, and I think I don't know. Maybe
because if it came down to lighting, I would have flipped the.
I think maybe overall, outside the box thinking about it.
Sure.
Because they both were very similar concepts. However, I think one of them took in a bit of a different direction.
So why don't we give the world our opinion on who we picked as first place this week? And it goes to... We're getting good at this. Mark Moore. You get 6 points. Excellent work. As soon as I saw this shot, I thought this is probably going to be in at least the top 2. And after all photos were submitted and shared, yeah. And it was a toss-up. It was a toss-up. But well done. You won all the prize. And good job for you. So we'll see how it goes for next week. And well done to everybody. Everybody. Such a great show this week. Good work, everyone. Thank you so much for submitting all your photos. And the next photo challenge for the upcoming 3 weeks, it was going to be sound. But... because the show coming up next week is the sound show, Sound of Vision, whatever. But sound is kind of a weird one to do. So we like to keep our simple challenges, simple or something. So the photo challenge coming up for this upcoming week is going to, or 3 weeks, is going to be why? That's the challenge. Why? Interpret it how you will. Do whatever you want with it. It could be, why am I living out this day the way I'm living it? Why did this car door just slam on my fingers? Why do I only have half a bottle of water? I mean, who knows? Okay. It could be anything. So why is the photo challenge? I hope you guys think outside the box even further and really enjoy it. And it kind of brings me to our quote of the show. And the quote this week is from Steven Pinkner, who said, "Photography is a kind of virtual reality, and it helps if you can create the illusion of being in an interesting world." So it kind of goes to what we're talking about. You want to create a virtual reality in the photo, but if you had an interesting world around it, it would really make for a better photo. So
I think you can take this 2 ways.
Go for it.
I think you can also take this in a really, what is the proper word for it? Sad way, I guess. And that's that it's a kind of virtual world, and it helps if you can create the illusion of being in an interesting world, as if the world we live in is not interesting.
Yes.
But, the world we live in could be interesting, because if we ever have to build a wall, we could always make it 1 foot higher.
Awesome. And, I have to say sorry to a friend of ours who I might have offended at one point or another. And this friend of ours is Navi Noom. So Navi bought a pen, like a fountain pen. She paid an exuberant amount of money for this pen. And, not going to give exact numbers or whatever. But she likes this pen, and she loves it. And I've kind of dissed the pen a little bit. Why don't you spend so much on a pen? Yeah, like kind of one of those.
Pens are nice.
Because she thinks pens are nice. Well, I kind of did the same thing today. Today I went out and I bought myself some colored pencils because I do those adult coloring things to chill out. I just got one. It's zombies. So that's
okay.
I got pencils today. I spent around $100 on pencils, and $100 on pencils compared to what she spent on a pen. I don't know. I feel kind of bad. So, just thought I'd apologize to Navi for that.
Okay.
Not a big deal. I'm not really an offensive kind of person, so that's the worst I have to apologize for. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks for coming out there, Phil.
Use for the sad trombone. I just wasn't sure what to use that for.
All right, cool. There it is. So that's it for us tonight, everybody. Thank you, Phil, for being here to the end. Thank you to all the viewers who stayed with us to the end. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of our show and joining in the Q&A and telling us what you think, because it really, really helps. Nick says, nice. Woot. The sound effects are lit, which is apparently a thing kids say. You know, it's a little weird. And Mark says 4 minutes on a side is way too much for an egg. I agree with Mark 100%.
Yeah, because then you brown the egg and it has that weird taste to it, and you can't do that.
Mark Moore says, thank you, of course. Thank you. You're doing a great job, and happy 1 year anniversary. Mark Flinders says, excellent. Thank you. Emil, great show. Appreciate the honorable mention. You got it, buddy. Well done. And Christine says, on the board. Thanks. Congrats, all. That's so cool. I love that. And Tom, well done. Well done, guys. I keep learning. That's what it's all about. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. Great show tonight, guys. Nick, laugh out loud. You guys are great. Steven says, oh, come on. You're going to make me all egotistical and stuff. And yay to Emil. So good job, everybody. Thank you again, Phil. Thank you, Gabriel, for being on, even though, I know how busy Gabriel is. Trust me, he is.
Very, very busy man.
He's about 5 weeks behind people right now. Great raw skills tonight, Jerry says. Awesome stuff. Way to end the show.
With the drum on that one.
Cool. All right. Night, everybody. We're going to peace out. See you all next week. And don't forget to check out next week's show. Give us your opinions on the sound questions, because we want to have a lot of really good questions for Justin from Sennheiser. And it should be a really good tips and techniques show. Mm-hmm. See you all next week. Phil, see you next week.
Absolutely. And I do want to make a note about next week as well. Even if you're debating about shooting video or you're thinking about it in any way, there's so much to sound other than just video, because so much of what we do has an audio component to it. You could be editing pictures and listening to music. You could be editing a video. You could be shooting a video. You could be trying not to wake your significant other up while watching or playing, let's say, a game in the evening. Sound is involved in that. There's so many options for sound. So I think it's, even if you're not interested in video, I don't think we're going to talk just about video sound. True. So it could be a very good thing to tune in and check out. Good point. Awesome point. And it kind of makes me think about this app I downloaded for my computer called Noizio. Okay. Have you heard of that? No. Noizio, Noizio. You can download it to your computer, and it just, you can turn it on, you can turn it off, whatever. You can create your own sound effects in your room or whatever. So you can have October rain, coffee house, thunderstorm, campfire, winter wind, sea waves, so just like a white noise generator. Yeah, kind of like an ambient noise kind of generator thing. So I've got mine set to sunny day and wind chimes. So it's like birds chirping and wind chimes. Every time I come in my room, I feel so much more peaceful in the office. It's awesome. So sound is so important. It tunes you into your memories. Every song I know and I love, as soon as I hear it, it brings me back to where I first fell in love with it. So you're right, Phil. What's the spelling of that app again? Noizio. And if you're American, Noizio. That doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't. I agree. Okay. Night, everybody. Enjoy. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Nikon rules.